What if death wasn't inevitable? What if you could look into the mirror at 80 and see the face of someone 30 staring back, not through plastic surgery, but because your body never really aged? Imagine attending your great-great-grandchild's graduation, not in a rocking chair, but walking beside them, sharp, strong, and alive. This isn't a sci-fi dream. It's a very real question at the edge of modern science. Are we on the verge of immortality? From the moment humans became aware of their mortality, we've raged against it. The Epic of Gilgamesh, written over 4,000 years ago, tells the tale of a hero desperately seeking eternal life. In ancient China, emperors consumed mercury, elixirs hoping to cheat death. Ironically, it often sped up the process. In the Middle Ages, alchemists chased the philosopher's stone, not just to turn metal into gold, but to unlock the secret to eternal life. Our ancestors didn't lack ambition. They just lacked the tools. Today, we have those tools. The 21st century isn't just about colonizing Mars or building AI superbrains. It might become the age when death itself becomes optional. And leading this charge isn't just eccentric futurists. It's Nobel Prize-winning scientists, world-renowned geneticists, and billionaire tech moguls who are throwing hundreds of millions of dollars into a single idea: radical life extension. 1. Of the most influential figures in this movement is Dr. Aubrey de Grey, a biomedical gerontologist who believes aging is not a natural part of life, but a disease. According to him, the first person to live to 1,000 years old may already be alive today. His foundation, SENS Research, has spent years breaking down aging into 7 distinct types of cellular damage and building therapies to repair. By each one, it's not about curing death, it's about preventing the damage that leads to it. But let's rewind. What exactly is aging, biologically speaking? At its core, aging is the gradual accumulation of molecular and cellular damage over time. Telomeres, the protective caps at the ends of your chromosomes, shorten every time your cells divide. When they become too short, your cells can no longer replicate. This leads to organ failure, cognitive decline, and all the hallmarks of aging. Mitochondria, the powerhouses of the cell, begin to malfunction. Proteins misfold. Immune systems weaken. It's a cascade of decay, written into the very biology of life. Now imagine we could interrupt that cascade. That's precisely what many scientists are trying to do. One stunning breakthrough came from Harvard Medical School, where researchers managed to rejuvenate the eyes of old mice using a gene therapy technique that resets the epigenetic clock, the system that determines which genes are turned on or off. The mice regained youthful vision. Let that sink in. Now, we aren't just slowing aging, we're literally reversing it. And then there's the case of Elizabeth Parrish, the controversial but pioneering CEO of BioViva. In 2015, she became one of the first humans to undergo experimental gene therapy, not to treat a disease, but to try to slow or even reverse aging. She received 2 therapies, one to increase muscle mass and another to lengthen her telomeres. Post-treatment, blood tests showed her telomeres had lengthened by the equivalent of 20 years. The scientific community was skeptical. After all, the sample size was 1, but it was the beginning of something no one could ignore. Meanwhile, in Silicon Valley, companies like Calico, backed by Google's parent company Alphabet and Unity, biotechnology, are investing heavily in senolytics, drugs designed to flush out senescent cells. These are zombie-like cells that stop dividing but don't die. Instead, they linger, releasing inflammatory signals that damage neighboring cells. By removing them, early tests in animals show improved physical function and longer lifespans. Human trials are underway. And the ambition doesn't stop at biology. Some thinkers are aiming higher or deeper. Ray Kurzweil, famed futurist and director of engineering at Google, predicts we'll reach longevity escape velocity by 2030, meaning for every year that passes, science will add more than 1 year to your life expectancy. In theory, you'd never catch up with death. But before we dive deeper into how this might actually happen, let's pause for a second. Every great journey starts with a few brave explorers. Right now, Cosmic Whispers is just beginning, and Your support means everything. If you enjoy unraveling the mysteries of the universe, hit subscribe. It's free, and it helps us grow this community together. So where does this lead us next? Well, if aging is a code written into our biology, then can it be hacked? Can we trick the body into staying young forever? Or will nature fight back in ways we haven't foreseen? The next chapter of this journey takes us into the wild world of gene editing, cellular reprogramming, and the dream of stopping the clock entirely. As we venture deeper into the question of immortality, we're entering a realm that was once the stuff of science fiction, but now is powered by science fact. Imagine a world where our cells, those tiny self-replicating units of life, can be instructed to repair themselves, or even to begin again as if they were fresh from the start. This isn't fantasy. It's what the cutting-edge field of gene editing and cellular reprogramming is promising, and it's where many believe the key to immortality lies. In the past few decades, gene editing has evolved from an experimental concept to a transformative technology, thanks to breakthroughs like CRISPR. This molecular tool, which allows scientists to cut and paste DNA with precision, is revolutionizing everything from disease, treatment to our understanding of aging itself. But could it help us cheat death? Could we, by tweaking the very code of life, create a version of ourselves that never grows old? The answer, it seems, is yes, but not without challenges. The science is still in its infancy, and there are risks involved that we can't ignore. To grasp this fully, we need to understand what happens when we begin rewriting our biology. In 2021, scientists successfully used CRISPR technology to correct a genetic mutation in the embryos of human cells, potentially preventing certain genetic disorders. But that's just one part of the puzzle. The more ambitious goal is to use gene editing to extend lifespan by halting or even reversing the molecular damage that accumulates with age. Take telomeres, for example. These protective caps on our chromosomes shorten as we age, essentially marking the expiration date for our cells. Every time a cell divides, the telomeres shorten. When they get too short, the cell can no longer divide and eventually dies, leading to the breakdown of tissues, organs, and ultimately, the aging process itself. But what if we could lengthen these telomeres again? Or better yet, what if we could reset them entirely? That's exactly what scientists at the University of California, Berkeley, managed to do in 2015. They used a technique that combined the power of gene editing with stem cell therapy to reverse aging in lab mice. By reprogramming the genetic code of their cells, they essentially turned back the clock. These mice, once frail and grey, were suddenly sprightly and energetic, far younger than their biological age suggested. This breakthrough isn't just an academic curiosity. It has real-world implications. If we could apply this technology to human cells, we might be able to rejuvenate our bodies on a cellular level. Imagine a world where age-related diseases like Alzheimer's or Parkinson's could be reversed. A world where the very processes of aging that have plagued us since the dawn of time could be undone, as if they had never existed. But it's not just about reversing the physical symptoms of aging. The mind, the very thing that makes us who we are, could also be preserved. Enter the fascinating world of cellular reprogramming. Scientists have discovered that in certain conditions, mature cells can be reprogrammed to become young, flexible stem cells again. In 2012, Dr. Shinya Yamanaka was awarded the Nobel Prize for his groundbreaking work on this process, known as induced pluripotent stem cells, iPSCs. The discovery allowed researchers to take adult skin cells and reprogram them into stem cells that could develop into any type of tissue in the body. This discovery opened up a new frontier in regenerative medicine. But could it be the key to stopping aging altogether? Could we take a person's skin cells, reprogram them to their youthful state and create a new body, one that doesn't age, that doesn't break down over time? Well, in theory, yes. In practice, there are still significant hurdles. One of the biggest challenges is ensuring that the reprogrammed cells don't lead to cancer. Reprogramming cells involves forcing them to become more like stem cells, and, while this offers incredible regenerative potential, it can also trigger uncontrollable growth, turning them into cancerous cells. There's also the issue of DNA damage. which is inevitable as cells divide over time. Even if we could rejuvenate cells, how long before the damage catches up with them again? Yet despite these challenges, the excitement is palpable. In fact, the race to extend life, or even to create immortal cells, is intensifying. Companies like BioViva and others are already testing gene therapies that target the cellular processes that age us. These therapies aim to do more than just slow down the clock. They aim to stop it altogether. One notable example is a company called Elevian, which has been investigating the role of a protein called GDF11. This protein has been shown to reverse age-related changes in the brain and other organs in animal models. While still in early stages, researchers are hopeful that this approach could one day be used to not just extend lifespan, but restore lost youth. And then there's the tantalizing possibility of biological immortality. This doesn't mean living forever in the traditional sense, but rather preventing the biological processes that lead to aging. The key here lies in understanding why our bodies age in the first place. The leading hypothesis is that aging is the result of a combination of genetic factors and environmental damage. By either repairing this damage or slowing it down, we could theoretically halt the aging process. However, there are ethical and philosophical questions that arise as we stand on the cusp of such an extraordinary future. What would it mean for society if people could live indefinitely? Would immortality be a privilege reserved for the wealthy and powerful, or could it be available to all? Would we still value life if it lasted forever? And perhaps most importantly, what happens to the planet if we stop dying? These questions and the science behind the dream of immortality will shape our future in ways we can't yet fully predict. But one thing is certain: scientists are not giving up on the idea of radical life extension. The possibilities are endless, and we're only beginning to scratch the surface. Every great journey starts with a few brave explorers. Right now, Cosmic Whispers is just beginning, and your support means everything. If you enjoy unraveling the mysteries of the universe, hit like, share, and leave a comment below. What do you think? Is immortality within reach? As we move forward, we need to ask, what if immortality isn't just a matter of fixing our bodies, but of merging our minds with machines? Could digital immortality be the true future? That's a question we'll explore next. As we've seen, the dream of immortality has long been a biological pursuit, reversing the aging process at the cellular level, restoring youth to the body. But what if we could bypass the biological limitations entirely? What if the key to eternal life isn't just to rejuvenate our physical form, but to transcend it? Imagine uploading your consciousness into a machine, transferring your mind, memories, and experiences into a digital world that exists beyond the confines of the human body. Welcome to the world of digital immortality. This concept, often called mind uploading or whole brain emulation, is as mind-bending as it is ambitious. It's the idea that someday we could upload the essence of who we are, the very fabric of our consciousness, into a computer. Once uploaded, we could live forever in a virtual world or within a robotic body, free from the physical limits that our organic bodies impose on us. No aging, no sickness, no death. This is where science fiction begins to blur with science fact. The idea of transferring a human mind to a machine has been popularized by films like The Matrix and Transcendence, but it's also a real area of research being explored by neuroscientists, engineers, and futurists. Some, like the late futurist and AI researcher Ray Kurzweil, believe that this technological singularity is inevitable, that as our understanding of both the human brain and computing accelerates, we will eventually crack the code of consciousness itself. But how realistic is this idea? Is it just an elaborate fantasy, or is there real science behind it? Let's start by considering what we know about the brain. Our minds, our thoughts, our personalities, these are all the result of intricate patterns of electrical signals and biochemical processes within the brain. These processes form memories, govern behavior, and create consciousness. In theory, if we could map out the brain's structure and the exact connections between its neurons, we could replicate this system in a machine. The challenge lies in understanding just how complex the brain truly is. To date, Our best model for understanding how the brain works comes from neuroscience. However, we're still far from being able to replicate the brain's full complexity. The human brain contains around 86 billion neurons, each forming thousands of synaptic connections with other neurons. Mapping these billions of connections, or connectome, is a daunting task, but it's the key to making mind uploading a reality. Some researchers, like those working on the Human Connectome project, are already mapping the brain's neural pathways. But even with the most advanced technology, we're still a long way from having a full blueprint of the brain's intricate networks. One of the main issues is understanding the nature of consciousness itself. We know the brain generates consciousness, but we're still not entirely sure how. Is consciousness just the result of complex computation within the brain? Or is there something more to it, some property of the brain that we cannot replicate in a machine? Until we can answer this question, the concept of uploading our minds remains speculative, but some are betting that we're not as far away as we think. In 2020, the Blue Brain Project, an ambitious endeavor based at the École Polytechnique Fédérale de Lausanne in Switzerland, successfully simulated a rat's brain using a supercomputer. While this was a huge milestone, simulating the brain of a rat is a far cry from uploading a human mind. However, researchers believe that if they can simulate smaller brains, they can eventually scale up their models to encompass the human brain. It's a task that could take decades, but the fact that it's even possible to simulate brain activity at all is a monumental step forward. Meanwhile, the idea of creating digital immortality is also gaining ground in the world of robotics. Think about this. What if, instead of uploading our minds into computers, we could transfer our consciousness into a robotic body? This is the ultimate form of human augmentation, the fusion of flesh and machine. The result could be something like the bionic man, a person whose mind is housed within an advanced robotic body, capable of living for centuries, impervious to aging and disease. The key to this possibility lies in advancements in artificial intelligence and robotics. Some of the most promising work in this area is being done by researchers at institutions like the California Institute of Technology and companies like Neuralink, the company founded by Elon Musk. Neuralink's aim is to create a seamless interface between the human brain and machines, allowing us to control computers, robots, and even prosthetics with nothing but thought. While the company's initial focus is on treating neurological diseases like Parkinson's and Alzheimer's, the ultimate goal is much more ambitious: to create a symbiosis between humans and AI, where we can enhance our minds and bodies with machines in ways we can't yet fully imagine. One of the main drivers behind this push is the concept of human enhancement. It's not just about surviving longer, it's about making our brains and bodies better. Imagine having access to limitless knowledge through a brain-computer interface, or controlling a robotic body with the precision of your mind. The future of immortality, according to this vision, is a combination of biology and technology. Instead of fighting against the inevitable decay of our bodies, we could embrace it by merging with machines. However, as with any major technological advancement, there are serious ethical and philosophical questions that come with this idea. If we could upload our consciousness into a machine, would we still be us? Or would we be a copy, a simulation of the original? And if our consciousness could exist forever in a digital realm, what would that mean for the rest of humanity? Could society function when people can live forever? Would the divide between the rich and the poor grow even more pronounced, with the wealthy having access to immortality while the rest of us fade away? Furthermore, there's the question of personal identity. Is the self simply the sum of our memories and experiences, or is there something more? If we upload our minds into a machine, are we still human, or are we something else entirely? These are questions we'll have to face as technology continues to advance. While mind uploading and digital immortality may seem like the stuff of science fiction today, it's a rapidly growing field, and in the not-so-distant future, we may be forced to confront these questions head-on. And so, the dream of immortality is no longer just about defying the aging process. It's about transforming the very nature of what it means to be human, As we look ahead to a future where our minds might live forever, we must ask ourselves, is immortality truly what we want? Or is there something deeper we're seeking, something beyond the need to live forever? Every great journey starts with a few brave explorers. Right now, Cosmic Whispers is just beginning, and your support means everything. If you've enjoyed this exploration, hit like, share, and leave a comment. What do you think about digital immortality? Do you believe it's achievable, or is it just a dream? As we move forward, we need to consider, what if immortality isn't just about our bodies or our minds? What if the true future lies in the fusion of both? As we near the end of our exploration into immortality, we arrive at a thought-provoking and transformative concept. What if the future of immortality doesn't simply lie in the physical or digital realm? What if true immortality, something far beyond just living forever in a body or a machine, could be achieved by merging the two? Imagine the fusion of mind and machine, not in separate, isolated entities, but as a seamless integration, where the boundaries between the biological and technological worlds blur entirely. This is the next frontier of immortality, where human consciousness, enhanced by artificial intelligence and robotics, could exist in a state that we've never imagined before. It's a vision that pushes the very limits of what it means to be human, one where our biological weaknesses are not just augmented, but integrated into a new form of existence. The future we're beginning to glimpse might not be about keeping our bodies alive forever, or uploading our minds into a machine, but about redefining our very essence. This fusion of biology and technology, often called transhumanism, holds the promise of extending human life far beyond the natural lifespan, blending the organic with the synthetic to create something entirely new. At its core, transhumanism is the belief that humans can and should use technology to overcome our biological limitations. The goal isn't just to enhance what we already have, but to push humanity into a new evolutionary phase, one where we can live indefinitely, not just by staving off death, but by completely transforming our bodies and minds into something far more resilient, more adaptable, and even more capable. Imagine being able to download your mind into a robotic body that can withstand the harshest environments, whether it's the cold vacuum of space or the crushing depths of the ocean. Imagine a world where disease, aging, and even death itself are not the end, but merely transitions to new forms of existence. While it may sound like science fiction, some researchers believe we're already laying the foundation for this kind of future. For example, one of the most exciting developments in biotechnology is the field of nanotechnology. Scientists are developing tiny, microscopic machines, nanobots, that could one day enter our bodies and repair cellular damage, fight off infections, and even enhance our physical abilities. Picture a world where these nanobots constantly patrol your bloodstream, repairing damage at the molecular level before you even notice it. They could act as a sort of biological immune system that not only prevents disease but also helps rejuvenate aging cells, turning the aging process into a thing of the past. In fact, many researchers are already working on cyborg technology, implantable devices that enhance the human body with mechanical or electronic components. These implants could range from something as simple as a pacemaker to more advanced systems like brain-machine interfaces, allowing people to control prosthetic limbs with their thoughts. These technologies are already changing lives, giving people with disabilities the ability to move and interact with the world in ways that were once impossible. But the vision of the future goes much further. What if these technologies could replace entire limbs, organs, and even senses? What if we could enhance our natural abilities to a point where we could defy our physical limitations? We're also seeing major breakthroughs in the world of artificial intelligence. In the coming decades, AI could become the perfect companion for humans, not only in terms of knowledge and interaction, but as a true partner in our biological transformation. We could use AI to help design and construct bodies that are resistant to disease, aging, and even environmental stressors. These bodies could be tailored to an individual's needs, with self-healing materials and enhanced sensory capabilities, making the human body more like a machine, one that can be repaired, upgraded, and optimized over time. And it's not just about the body. As we explore the boundaries of human consciousness, we might begin to understand how to upload not just memories, but emotions, thoughts, and even consciousness itself into artificial forms. The digital realm could become a vast, boundless landscape where minds, human and artificial, coexist in a state of constant evolution. In this future, immortality would no longer be tied to flesh or blood, but to consciousness itself, stored in digital form, free to explore endless possibilities, interact with others, and exist in any environment, real or imagined. But just as the potential of transhumanism is vast, so too are the challenges, ethical, moral, and philosophical. If we can live forever, should we? The very idea of immortality raises questions about the nature of life and death. If we could replace our bodies and minds with machines, would we still be human? Or would we become something else entirely, something that no longer understands the fragility and beauty of human existence? And who gets access to this kind of immortality? Would it be a privilege reserved for the wealthy? Or would society find a way to make these technologies available to all? Then there's the environmental impact. If humans no longer age and die, what happens to our planet? How do we sustain an ever-growing population that doesn't die, especially with the already increasing strain on resources and ecosystems? Could the dream of immortality lead to a world where the balance of nature is disrupted beyond repair? These are questions that society will need to grapple with in the coming decades. And as we continue to advance our understanding of biotechnology, artificial intelligence and robotics, the line between what is human and what is machine will blur, forcing us to redefine what it means to be alive, and whether immortality is truly something we should strive for. As we leave you with these thoughts, the question remains, what does immortality mean for you? Is it a dream worth chasing or a burden to be avoided? As science continues to push the boundaries of what's possible, we're left to wonder, will immortality one day be within our grasp? And what kind of world will we create once we've conquered death itself? Thank you for joining us on this journey through the science of immortality. If you enjoyed this exploration, hit like, share, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Do you think immortality is possible, or is it just a dream? What are your thoughts on transhumanism and digital immortality? We'd love to hear your perspective. And remember, while immortality may seem like the ultimate goal, the real question is, what kind of life are we living now? Because perhaps it's not immortality we should be after, but a life worth living. Keep exploring with Cosmic Whispers, and we'll see you next time.